Hello, welcome to a Wildfrost tier list. I'm going to do a little series of these probably over the next week or so. For sure, I'm going to also do charms, but today we're going to do companions. I don't know if I really have anything else to do, honestly. But yeah, I've been wanting to do one of these since 1.1 released, updated, mostly because my opinions have changed pretty heavily, especially on a certain purple demon monster. I have found myself experiencing some differing opinions from what I once held. It's good to do these every now and then. Last time I did this tier list, I changed the tiers a bunch. I think I'm just gonna. Here's how I'm gonna do it. We're gonna do this on the fly. We're gonna go with the good tier, the bad tier, the haha tier, I think, is how I'll do it. And then I'll do one for the pets, because I'm gonna set them off aside. Something like this. I don't know, I'll change it if I feel, but I don't think I need much more than good, bad, haha. And mostly this will be just to talk about it and, give you an idea of where I think things stand. Now, I haven't played with all of the units, but I think that that's also fairly telling. You know what? No, I should change. I want to change this haha to for fun. Because I think that there's one thing that you should know about this game and about most of these games that I play. When I talk about video games like this, I tend to speak from the perspective of trying to go on a perfect win streak, right? Trying to approach the 100% win rate. And that's going to change your view quite a bit because there are some units that require basically divine intervention to work, but are still pretty good. And if they do work, they're going to be very good. So you'll get a feel for it as we go. I have the, if you're watching the video right now, by the way, this screen's going to change color. I'd like to warn you. I have the companions page up. I looked through it. It looks like it's updated as well, just in case we have any that we don't remember. So let's begin, shall we? So first up is Alloy. Alloy is now a 12-6-5 with 1 bomb and apply 1 scrap to random allies. So what this was before was it was apply 1 scrap to a random ally on kill. Now it just does it naturally. This is one, like right off the bat, we have one that I think is just kind of, how do you put it? It's like, I think Alloy is bad. I'm gonna turn my music down just a touch. Like that sounds right. I think Alloy is bad. So there's one big thing that I believe, and again, this doesn't mean that you can't win with Alloy, and Alloy has their use cases for sure, but Alloy has, and I'm gonna switch back to the companions tab here. Alloy has this 1 bomb, and it's this big problem of changing the math in a way that you may forget. I find that to be really problematic because when you're playing these runs, most of what you're going to lose to is forgetting something. Now, there are going to be times where you have to play Alloy, and that's fine, but I don't like to play this unit just because it's very easy to forget when you're doing the math that 1 bomb means that all damage is increased by 1. The other big thing is that 1 bomb is a lot more troubling on you than it is on enemies because enemies tend to be doing a lot of like 2 or 3 turn time or 1 to 3 damage hits, right? Which means that you're getting a lot worse off from the 1 bomb than you are from like big single hits, which most units survive 2 big single hits anyway. 8 and 12 HP are like the same number because of, like 7, 8 damage hits. I guess you might survive a 5 that another unit wouldn't. Anyway, I don't think Alloy is great. Basically what I'm saying is I don't think that the adding scrap to your allies every 5 turns is worth dealing with the trouble. But there is some sort of like Alloy build up this ICGM for 13 turns idea you could maybe try to follow through on. Anyway, Blunky is next. Now I know you're probably going to find this shocking, maybe not, but I don't think Blunky is good. I think Blunky is fun. Blunky is definitely a for fun unit. The problem with Blunky is that you are usually going to be seeing this unit at the beginning of the run before you have direction. because that's typically when you're drafting units. And man, doing 1 damage every 2 turns is not very good. The good news about Blunky is that if you have damage boosters, Blunky gets to solo runs. But man, oh man, he is not very good if you don't. I think when I last made this tier list, I made the case for Blunky that he is an okay early game tank. And the problem with that stance is that you don't need an early game tank because you should have it through your pet or your hero, which means that Blunky's early game, because there's another unit that we'll talk about where you get to do perspective stuff and is very good later on. But Blunky is just like, you can't pick this unit and go, oh, well, maybe he'll tank a hit for me, because if this is your only unit, you're just gonna die on the 3rd boss on Infernoco. And that shit's not very cool. Sorry, Blunky. Berry Sis, I don't think I've actually played Berry Sis, but my opinion of Berry Sis is unchanged. I'm gonna change the screen again, by the way, beware. I'll warn you every time. But Berry Sis has a 3-turn timer, which is very good. Oh, Blunky wasn't in the right spot, by the way. Oh well. But yeah, Berry Sis has a 3-turn timer and 8 HP. If you remember last time, my tier list was very heavily driven by how good units are at tanking things. I think that's not as important anymore to me. But 3-turn timer is good because you can turn Berry Sis into a carry, and having an effective health bar of 16 is really good because you transfer your 8 HP over. A shame that this Shademancer's only, but still. I think Berry Sis is very good, even though I haven't been playing her lately. Big Berry, you know, Big Berry is like, he's the world's okayest boy. 10 health, 5 damage, that's good. He's like, he shows up to work, you know? That's what Big Berry does. He shows up to work, and he does great at showing up to work. Yeah, 5 damage is good. The end. BG is the first one that I don't really know. I'm gonna switch tabs again. I really don't know how I feel about BG. I think... So 8 HP is good, but what I find is that... So my opinion has shifted away from these units being just about their health, right? And BG gives this 8 HP, which is good, but 8 HP doesn't last very long in these fights. You can recall and it's okay, but when you're out of hits, what is BG doing? And what BG is doing is no damage and applying 5 to 6 bomb, probably. I don't know. I don't really like BG. I think BG isn't very good. It's just like, because you're going to run out of health, right? No 8 HP unit is tanking forever. So how good are they when you're out of health? And the answer is, well, you know, not very. I gotta be honest with you. Bomb Bomb is still broken. The changes don't change anything. Bomb Bomb, you have a 7 damage barrage unit in the early game, you're just winning the first like 5 fights with no problems. That's really good. I think that... So let's talk a little bit about philosophy of how you win runs nowadays. I used to talk a lot about Monster Train. I had a very simple philosophy. How do you kill bosses? How do you kill frontline? How do you kill backline? Answer 3 questions, you win the game. And that was probably a little reductionist. I think this game can be also simplified into 3 questions. I don't know how many questions it is. I'm just going to talk and we'll figure out. But this game is, how do you get past the first major boss? How do you beat Infernoco, basically? Or Bamboozle, but, you know, let's be honest. How do you beat Infernoco? And then, how do you get to the Frost Gang, and how do you beat the Frost Gang? What I have found in this game is that probably 99% of runs, as long as you play well, will make it to the Frost Gang. But that's only if you make the right choices along the way. Bomb Bomb basically says, here's a free pass through the first 4 or 5 combats. Bomb Bomb will just clear the whole board for you. And then at the end of the run, Bomb Bomb can tank and take up some of the Frost Gang's time, which, you know, doubly good. It's just, you have to understand that you want to pick units that are good at getting you through the early game, but it's not super, super important. So ideally, the units that get you through the early game also do something to help you in the final boss. because I believe, barring like, I don't know, if you want proof of this, I guess, go back to the run I played on New Year's Eve. That run is a very good showcase. It would be the run that went up on January 1st. That run is a very good showcase of basically any run can make it to the Frost Gang, because in that run, my only unit is, spoiler alert, Haze Blazer. That's the only unit they show me on the whole run. And that run makes it to the final boss. So it's not a, don't be overconfident, right? Pick things that are good, but you don't have to worry so much about it like I used to. That's my stance. Anyway, Bonnie sucks. I really don't like Bonnie. I don't care about the cleanse effect. I'm a Bonnie hater. 4 HP, heal 2 to all units. I can't really describe what I don't like about this unit. I think it's mostly that heal 2 to all on a 4 turn timer is just not very good. Like, compare Bonnie to the other support unit in the same sort of position, which is Snowful. It's not really close, but I don't know. Bonnie is probably fine. I just think that I want to kill things. You win the game by killing things. You don't win the game by living forever usually. And if you do have to live by winning forever, 2 health is not enough. And cleanse, what are you cleansing? Poison? Maybe. I don't know. Bushu goes in the pets tier. We'll talk about the pets when we get more in there. Bird is extremely good. These aren't going to be sorted within the tiers initially. I might do it at the end. I'll sort within the tiers, but regardless, Bird is really good. You want a unit that can tank forever. Bird tanks forever as long as you manage it. Bird's effective health, skipping the first one, it's like, what, 4, 6, 8, 10? So it's like 28 HP in a unit. And along the way, once you get into the later points, you have a 3 turn timer 6 and a 3 turn timer 8. Plus you have a sacrifice engine. I mean, I think Bird contextually might be the best unit in the game. Within its clan, it's just so good. I'm not 100% certain of that stance, but whew, man, I love Bird. I think it's so good. Chompom's great. Chompom has a 3 turn timer. When you're looking at carry units, anything under a 4 turn timer is probably broken, and Chompom is pretty broken. No surprise there. The biggest problem with Chompom is that you have to get a shell card. The good news is that there are a lot of them. There's Shellbow, Shell Shield, and Colonel, so you will probably see one if you just look for it. But if you ever miss, it's kind of sad. Even if you miss though, the clan that he's in, the Snowdweller clan, has good damage buffs. And that means that, you know, you can still get away with it because ultimately 3 turn timer and 6 HP. Like, worst case, this guy is 3 turn timer. I think he does 4 damage and has 6 health as long as you don't let him get hit. So he's still good regardless. Devro is fucking awful. If you want to talk about, like, Bird is the best unit in the game maybe, I think Devro might be the worst unit in the game. I hate this guy so much. He's so terrible. I'm gonna switch to the companions tab so we can read his stat line real quick. He's a 6 health, 2 attack, 4 turn timer. When an ally is sacrificed, gain their attack. The problem with Devro is that, and this is a problem that Munch faces to a lesser extent, but generally I think the clan as a whole has a problem, that Devro doesn't fit in this build, because sacrifice units are so low HP, unless you have Blank Mask or Shade Wisp to steal enemies to get real attack numbers. The highest you're going to be summoning is a 2 attack unit. And man, oh man, having to spend a card and then another card to sacrifice to play Devro to gain 2 attack is just gross. The main problem with sacrificing, and we're going to talk about this again here, you know, we can talk about Groff as well, because I think Groff goes in the bad tier as well. The problem with both of these units is that it's really hard to find the time to play a unit and then also play a card to kill that unit. Sacrificing is hard. Like, you don't have the time. There are sacrifice cards that generate value, but they are... So you have to get, in this case, you have to get Devro, you have to get Jun Mask on the field, and then you have to get, like, Yeti Skull, I think, is the only one I would even consider playing. I'm not playing Tiger Skull for sure. I mean, Shaped Skull Miss T is okay, but you're getting 4 attack for this, right? This is a whole lot of effort to get 4 attack. The only thing that redeems these 2 units is Bird. I think that you can maybe get away with it if you're playing Bird, because then here's a unit that is actually okay with being sacrificed. But outside of Bird, here, actually, I'm willing to move Groff to the 4 fun tier. Because there's a set of circumstances where this unit works out, but what you're gonna find is most successful runs with either of these units are going to require you to have this Bird. Now the good news is that Bird is good. That's it. That's the good news. Bird is good. So you will probably have Bird, and then you can play these if you really like them. But man. It's really hard to find the time. That's the core case. There's one other case which we can talk about in a moment here. I'm actually gonna throw up a new tier because I think I wanna add a new tier to this. This is gonna be the it depends tier. I keep hitting enter like it matters. It depends. So these 2 units, I guess it depends is sort of like a 4 fun tier. Yeah, you know, I don't actually need this tier because Blunky is also an it depends. Never mind, I'm gonna delete this. It's the same idea. There's a world where you can play these units and they will do well, but that world is like you need to have something unlikely or just Bird. But this is more of a general guide. How do you pick your first 2 or 3 units, I think. Well, it's not even a guide, it's just kind of a way to organize my thoughts anymore. Anyway, Demona sucks. I have tried. I don't think I'm very vocal about this, but I am secretly Demona's biggest supporter. I've tried, because Demona on paper is so good. Demona is, I'm gonna switch tabs, warning. Demona's a 3 turn timer, 6 HP carry with apply 1 demonize. This is so good, like the stat line is so good, but it's just impossible to pick this unit with 0 damage. If this unit did 2 damage, I think she would be like one of the most broken units in the game. If you give her like 2 base damage, maybe even 1. At 2, no doubt, this unit is fucking insane. But at 0 attack, it's so hard to get Demona to a point where she actually kills anything. You have to buff her so much. Like, you have to buff her to a point where if you had buffed any other unit the amount you buffed Demona, you would have won. So, I don't know, man. It's just really disgusting, I think. Sorry, Demona. Egg is excellent. The good thing about Egg is that it's 8 HP, and it says summon Dr. Egg no matter what. It's when destroyed, not when sacrificed. And that means that you get this really good chump blocker that can take 1 to 2 hits. It's going to be 4 HP a lot after it dies for sure. But you get this really good chump blocker that becomes this honestly pretty mid unit. Dr. Egg is a multi-hit 3, but he's a 4 HP 5 turn timer unit, which means that he's going to have to survive a full round of hits to get his damage out. But as long as you play with him, like if you play smart, you will get his hit off. And a lot of times in the early game, like in the first few fights, 1 attack from Dr. Egg just changes the whole landscape of the fight. So I still like him, but he's not as good as just having this 8 HP frontliner that becomes another chump when it dies. Fire Fist, I don't think I've played Fire Fist much. I'm pretty sure I have. I'm gonna go look real quick. I think they buffed Fire Fist's health. I think Fire Fist used to be lower. Anyway, Fire Fist is 12 to 5. That's 12 HP to attack 5 turn timer. When health lost, gain equals spice. Fire Fist is like, if there were an okay tier, I would put Fire Fist in the okay tier. I think I'm gonna put Fire Fist in the, I don't know, man. It's so hard to call this unit good. Cause, sorry, quick rehydrate break mid sentence. Fire Fist is like 12 HP is good, but once you're out of HP, what does Fire Fist do, right? That's what I want to shift my focus towards in these frontlining fights, right? because when you talk about frontliners, what we're talking about now is what do they do when they're out of HP. So for example, when Bird is out of HP, he's doing 10 damage on a 3-turn timer. When Big Berry's out of HP, he's doing 5 damage on a 4-turn timer, and he has the potential to heal himself. When this unit's out of HP, little Berry Sis, she's dead. You probably just let her die. But she's made someone else have all of this HP. These are good things to do when you're out of HP. This unit, when you're out of HP, you're doing 2 damage on a 5-turn timer. And sure, you could maybe... I mean, there's not a lot of healing you can do. You can play Demon Heart on her, and that's okay. Demon Heart, especially with the post buff, is pretty alright. But, I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna... I just can't justify it. I think this unit's not very good. The only good news for Fire Fist is that it's not so bad because she's in the clan that has self-damaging attacks. Like, she's a... Instead, you know what I should do? Instead of calling this tier bad, I should call it if I have to. You know? Because there are going to be times... And although this unit isn't an if I have to. Yeah, okay, this is... I knew I was missing a row. I couldn't figure out what it was. This is the bad tier. And the only unit that should go there is probably both of these. Because, like, if you have to, you can pick any of these units and you will get through the early game. I would not pick Bonie or Demona to get out of the early game, though. Yeah, this is how the tier list should look, for sure. I get it now. Okay. But yeah, Fire Fist is, like, if I have to, basically. That's how I would describe it. Same thing for BG. BG, I could also say BG is a for fun unit, I think, because BG doesn't really get you out of the early game. The problem with BG is that she does no damage. BG is the... Here, I'm going to switch to the companions tab. BG's the 3-hit, 4-turn timer, 5 HP, apply 1 bomb. So baseline BG is doing 1, 2. BG is doing 3 damage on the first attack, and then if the unit's still alive, which if a unit's living 8 rounds, you're probably dying. But if there is a unit that is living to an 8th round, you're going to do 2, 3, 4, which is 9. So over 8 turns, BG can do... Or sorry, this isn't BG, this is Fizzle. God, BG's this lady. My fault. Anyway, Fizzle is who I am speaking on. Anyway, the for fun here, the reason this unit doesn't just go straight into, like, the bad tier, because you're not getting through the early game with Fizzle. Fizzle is no damage, and is not contributing anything. A lot of small enemies is not what Fizzle is good at. Fizzle is good at killing big things. But if you get Fizzle Barrage through Gachapomper, or you get Fizzle +1 bomb, either through Lumen Vase, Lumen Lantern, or through the charms, Lumen Ring or the Bomb Charm, then Fizzle can actually start putting out some pretty good damage, especially if you get like Lumen Ring, Lumen Vase going, you're getting suddenly 4 bomb per hit. Add in Barrage, you're going to start one-tapping whole rows. That's good. The problem is that if you don't hit those things, this unit is completely dead. That is just irredeemable. So, to me, I think that Fizzle is a fun unit. Now, there is something to be said for the 4 fun units, and something that there is to be said specifically for Fizzle is that a lot of times you want to pick a plan that can kill the final boss. Because if you just pick, like, Big Berry... like if you're just out here picking like Big Berry Bird, you're gonna walk into the final boss and you're gonna get smoked. The Frost Gang does not let you win through brute force typically, and there's a lot of factors that go into winning. But if you already have a very stable, solid early game laid out, you have like Big Berry and a strong hero and Spike, and you're not really afraid of dying, it's fine to pick Fizzle and then just say, yeah, sometimes I'm gonna rip a charm and we'll run through the final boss, no problem. And that's worth mentioning somewhere as well. I think Fizzle is the unit to say that for, because Fizzle is like one of the 2 that I think you can say this for. But you have to understand that it's all contextual, right? This game is first about surviving to see the next turn, and then once you're in a place where you always survive to see the next turn, you can then start thinking, how am I surviving to kill the Frost Gang? And Fizzle is one of those flyers where you just take it because, well, I got nothing better to take here, right? I already have a strong enough position. So worth mentioning somewhere. Anyway, up next is Foly. Foly's good. The good news about Foly is that recycling got a lot better, but Foly is just this like, I think he's 3. Hold on, I'm gonna switch to the companions tab. I think Foly, oh no, Foly's 4, the other one's 3. But Foly's this 12 HP, 3 attack unit. And what does he do when he runs out of health? 3 is like borderline fine. So it's worth paying the 12 HP, but the trash one when hit means that you can play some really aggressive recycle stuff. And that's cool. Foxy is up next. You know, Foxy is Foxy. The problem with Foxy, this is a unit that is like, he's contextual. Foxy is the greatest. He's the 3 hit, 3 turn timer, 1 damage unit. But in, I think specifically Shademancers, he can struggle. Because if you miss attack increases, Foxy is so dead. He is like irredeemable if you miss those attack increasers. But a lot of times you won't. You just have to look for him. You can get it through charms, you can get it through cards, but I think specifically in Shademancers, Foxy can suffer for missing. So, you know, just be aware. Fun Gun's good. 10 HP. What does he do when he's out of health? Well, when Fun Gun's out of health, he's dropping like 5 to 6 poison stacks on people, which is very good. I am a Fun Gun believer for sure. Here's the demons right here. This guy, Haze Blazer's the demons for sure. So where am I gonna place him? I'm gonna give it to him. Haze Blazer's for fun. This is the fun unit. So Haze Blazer dodges the bad tier through exactly one outcome. Haze Blazer has this dream scenario where you get to play Spark Charm, Gachapomp, or Haze Blazer, and if you ever hit that, I truly believe that's Exodia, because you get to play Haze Blazer on turn 1 versus the Frost Gang, and you pick a row, and that row cannot attack because Haze Blazer is going to lock them out. He's going to sit there and he's going to say, no, you cannot go. Hold this haze for me. The 2 attack timer unit in that row will get to hit once or twice maybe, but Haze Blazer will eventually die, but he stalls forever in that Exodia situation. Unfortunately, Exodia I've never drawn it, so, you know. One day I'll see it though. One day. Jumbo's good now. They fixed his bugs, allegedly, and I haven't had him crash my games ever. So Jumbo's good. I mean, Jumbo is on paper so broken. He's a 3 turn timer barrage unit with 12 HP. He's so broken because you just scale his attack a little bit and he starts wiping boards and he doesn't die. But realistically, what I've been finding with Jumbo is that the best thing to do with him is use him to sacrifice stuff in Shademancers. Use him to throw out some sacrifices, because I find that he's not actually all that good at anything. It's hard to buff his attack enough, but he's good now, I think. Probably. I don't know. I think that there's room for pretty much one of any beefy frontline unit in your run, because you just throw them to die to the bomber on the final fight. And that's really important. Like, don't underestimate how good it is just have a unit with 8+ HP go sit in front of the bomber on the final fight. It buys you like 12 rounds until you're under actual threat, and that's really good. But I don't know, barring that, because like you can throw everyone in the good tier. I don't think that Jumbo, I think Jumbo actually should go in the for fun tier now that I've talked it out, because realistically, if I'm just ignoring health, which I am, I'm not going to rate this entire tier list based on how good or how much health units have. Jumbo is actually just kind of for fun, because it's really hard to hit the amount of scaling he needs to run fights through. Similar problem to Foxy. If you miss your scaling, you die. I just feel like Foxy has a much smaller scaling requirement than Jumbo. Colonel's the best tank in the game, by far. Why? Well, it's mostly because Colonel says he doesn't do much damage. I don't need to switch to the companions tab for this. I was gonna, but Colonel says once he dies, once he's out of health, the unit behind him can tank. He's basically transferring his health, but he's doing it better than Barry Sis's. Usually he's doing it better than Barry Sis's, because every time he gets hit, he's passing on 3 health. So a lot of the time he's getting hit for 1s and 2s and passing on 3, so he's health positive fairly often, which is good. I'm a big fan of my good buddy here. Frego. I just don't pick this unit. I gotta tell you, I really, I don't know. Let me take a drink and think about it. Where does Crego go? I don't know. Okay, so I think Crego, I think he's for fun. I think everything I said about Fizzle is the same for Crego. So Crego is 7 HP, 0 attack, 5 turn timer. When a card is destroyed, gain +1. He's really slow scaling on the Frost Gang. But he has 7 HP, which is good for a carry, because he's a carry. He's a damage dealer. And in a world where you hit some numbers increases, Lumen Ring, Lumen Vase, Lumen Lantern, things like that. If you can increase his numbers, this unit's not terrible. I think he's fine. But realistically, if you pick him early, you're probably just gonna die. Like, he's so slow is the problem. So, I don't know. I think there's worlds where he's good, but I think that he's mostly just kind of pass, you know, because a lot has to go right. Now, it's worth noting that when your units die or when enemy units die, that gives him a +1 or a plus whatever. It gives him a proc. So there's some room for him to be acceptable, but I just don't play him, to be honest. Now, Lil Barry is my boy, but I think he's not very good. I love Lil Barry, but for some reason, it's probably because I hate healing. I don't like playing healing. Lil Barry is the 8 HP, 2 attack. When he's healed, gain +2 attack. And like on paper, I think this unit is so good. It just seems like if I put it on paper and I think about it, I'm like, oh man, this has to be broken, right? Worst case, you're getting an 8 HP tank, and best case, you're getting this fucking Omega carry that can't die. And yet, I pick him, and then I see no healing cards, and then I'm sad. There's a dream run out there where you get the Heart Mist Station, and you get the like the shell bows and all of that stuff, and he just gets to be this big monster. But I don't know, man. It never happens. So I think he just gets thrown into if I have to tier, but maybe this will be something that my opinion changes on by the time we come back around to this tier list if we do another. I'll rank the pets later. Now, Mini Mika is a unit I alluded to earlier. Mini Mika specifically is the unit that I was alluding to. Mini Mika is like much easier to pick though. So, Mini Mika has 8 HP and has this like hidden condition. I was talking about it with Fizzle. Mini Mika has this chance where if you hit any number of things to increase her card text, she just solos the run. At 6 damage, and sometimes even at 4 damage, this unit will just go off. The reason that I think Mini Mika is good and Fizzle is just for fun is that Mini Mika has a bigger base HP, so worst case, she can just be a tank for you through the mid game. And there's a wider range of things that you can hit for Mini Mika to be good, because it doesn't take a whole lot. When you're getting 2 frenzy per junk hit on Mini Mika, this unit goes crazy. So you're guaranteed to get Lumen Vase in a run. So I wouldn't say it goes crazy. You're at least gonna be fine though with Mini Mika, and it can get out of control very quickly. I think she's one of the highest cap units in the game, where you can end up on like, pre-patch, pre a few patches ago, you could just play Bomb Barrel turn 1 and Mini Mika, when you could play Junk in the Crown phase, she would just win you the game. It was like, just not fair, honestly. But yeah, I like picking Mini Mika because she's fine early and she has the potential to just auto win late game. Now, here we come to the actual reason that we're redoing the tier list. It's because I've been playing Munch lately. This unit's so good. I was so wrong about Munch. Now, why was I wrong about Munch? The big problem that Munch, I thought, faced was that he scaled too slowly. And I think that this was because back when I started playing the game, I played a run where I played around Munch, and I was just feeding him a bunch of stuff, and he died on the Frost Gang before he could eat the first time. And then I went, wow, this unit's fucking terrible. And then that was it. That was my opinion sealed. Munch is not actually that bad. He's actually extremely good. But I think he requires you to hit... There's a few things that you can hit for him. Smackback is very good. Sorry, it's... Smackback, it's... Multi-strike is really good if you have bird, because then you can double eat your bird. So like fucking gnome charm is good, for example, or a Moko charm can get away with it. But the big one here, the big thing that changed my mind about Munch is actually soulbound skulls, because you get to play Munch, and then when he eats, he's getting more powerful and killing an enemy unit for you. That's the one that really turned me around, because I feel like you see soulbound skulls pretty frequently, and I don't know. I've found that 3 runs in a row, there's always something that you hit for Munch. I tend to find that there's always something, so Munch gets to be in the good tier now. I think he's actually just a game winner. You have to be careful though. He does change things a lot, right? For the same reason that I gave Alloy a hard time, you have to be very aware and you have to be planning turns ahead, because sometimes you'll need your whole team to be able to hide behind Munch to dodge an enemy attack, and sometimes you're not allowed to do that. So you gotta be aware. The gnome goes next to Blunky. This, they don't tell you this in school, but this is the same unit. Naked Gnome and Blunky are the same unit. Yeah, the end. The Nom and Stompy is good. I haven't been playing him much, but he just hasn't been shown to me, or he's been shown to me against better units. I think Nom and Stompy is a solid middle of the pack though, because ultimately he's a 10-10, and you can plan around him eventually just killing things for you. But he does need something like a multi-hit, a chrono, a barrage. Otherwise, dealing 10 damage on a 10-turn timer is slow. Very, very slow. But I think good. I think he's still good enough, because ultimately he's sort of like a lesser version of Mini Mika. At worst, you're getting this 10 HP tank, and at best, you're getting something that's going to solo your run if you hit the right charm combination. Or like a Gachapomper. You're just going to blow out entire boards. That's what's really good about him. Pootie's good. This is a unit that I actually came around on because of something that someone in, I think the comments somewhere, I don't remember when, but someone left a comment that was like, yeah, Pootie's not that bad. You just have to think about him as this like one-off chump blocker that gives, he's basically Woodhead that gives multi-strike, which is pretty good. And sometimes he's a lot better than that as well. So I apologize for any prior Pootie hate that I have given. Who are you? You're Pyra. I have to go look at the companions here. 1 second. I think Pyra is, yeah, 8-5, apply 6 spice to the ally ahead. Pyra really puzzles me. I think this unit is just bad. The thing that puzzles me about Pyra is that she's a 5-turn timer. Apply 8 spice is really good, but like 5-turn timer, man. It's so long, because if you think about it, if you're playing her with, let's say, Foxy, and Foxy's actually very good with Pyra because of the way it works out, but even still, Foxy, if you have no other damage scaling than Pyra, your first hit is going to be just 3 damage. Your second hit's going to be like 27, yeah. But your second hit isn't until 6 turns into the fight. The good news is that Pyra can kind of body block for you, but I think Pyra would be very good if she said apply 8 spice to the unit behind, because then she would be able to go on the same turn timer as another unit and still apply spice and still tank. Because like, imagine a world where you're playing her with Foxy and you give her a Sunrod. and you're up against, I don't know, say, what's a good 3-turn timer enemy? Oh, like Uba Bear, for example. Uba Bear is a good 4 damage 3-turn timer unit. If you Sunrod Pyra, she can't frontline, or else she doesn't pass on her spice. It makes no sense to me that she works like that. I feel like if she says apply behind, she just shoots up a tier into the good tier. It's very odd, though, I think, that she has to apply in front. But, you know, sometimes you get offered nothing good and you go, okay, well, I'm going to pick this. And it's fine. 8 HP and potentially 8 damage on a 5-turn timer. It's okay. But it's really more of an if I have to than it is a bad. I apologize, Pyra. It's like a fine when you pick her, because she is doing 8 damage on a 5-turn timer. It's just really weird and roundabout. But sometimes you get her with Pepper Flag, and that's cool. Scaven's good. Scaven's super good. I don't care about the trash that he generates in most fights. And 3-turn timer, 5 damage, 8 HP. Crazy stat line. This unit's a pretty good one. Yeah, you want to pick up a recycle card probably to play him, because you got to be careful you don't flood yourself with junk. But typically, he's just like Big Berry. Shows up, does good damage. In the end game, shows up, dies. Both are good. Shelly's another one that I've had a big change of heart on. Shelly's good. I don't really know why I hated Shelly so much last time. There's nothing wrong with Shelly. She's an okay support unit. She gives you... the main thing is you don't want Shelly to be your first pick, but if she's like your second pick and she's following up a Foxy or a Tiny Tycho, for example, she's pretty good, because she just turns a lot of your units to be invulnerable. It makes it a lot easier to get through a lot of fights when you just get to gain HP on kill. Very solid. Shen sucks. I don't know. He's an if I have to, for sure. Because, like, he's not actively bad. He's just, if I have to play him, I will. There's not a whole lot of good about Shen. He has Overburn, and Overburn is a very strong mechanic. I'll give him that. But, like, 6 HP on a frontliner is bad, so what's he doing when he's run out of health, right? That's the question. And when he's run out of health, he's probably taken 2 or 3 hits, so he's hitting, 5 overburn to the frontmost unit? Gotta tell you, that's not all that exciting. And he's not tanking for very long either. But if you get good charm combos, Shen gets pretty crazy. If you can make him survivable, I'm sure he's very good. But overburn through units kind of sucks. That's all. Snobble's if I have to. He's fine, but like the stat line is okay for Snobble, and he does have the potential to pick a unit and put them in permastasis. But I don't know, man. I'd rather be buffing a better unit than Snobble. That's really all there is to it. Snoffle's good. I like it when Snoffle freezes the enemies. Gotta be careful though. Make sure that you actually do damage. I lost a run recently to Snoffle plus a bad hero opener. I did not have a very strong hero, and I just had no damage. But when he's good, he's really good, and when he's bad, he's still pretty good. It's not his fault that you're losing. You just need to make sure that he's not your only unit sometimes. Splinter is the definition of a for-fun unit. He's so fun and cool, and so many times he just steals something completely horrific. But he's a lot of fun, and that's cool. Like, I like Splinter. I think he was one of the first things I played on the new patch. He's fun. I think they changed him too on the new patch to be, you get to sort of select because you get to pick from the row. But, you know. He's not very good. He's just fun. Tiga's good. The big thing about teeth units is that you really want to have demonize. People pointed out to me, and I agree. Doubling the teeth damage is good, but realistically, Tiga's best asset is that if you are... So what are they going to do when they're out of HP? Well, Tiga's just going to die. But Tiga gives you an insurance on the hog fight. You can play Tiga plus Illumin Vase turn 1, and then Tiga will just kill Razor for you. You can hide Tiga away from the enemies, and as long as you can stay alive, Tiga just kills Razor. But at the end of it all, Tiga's not carrying you or anything in the final fights. Tiga's sitting here doing 8 HP, tank 2 hits, and die sort of plays, which is fine. Good enough, I think. Tinkerson is definitely a for fun unit. I almost gave him an if I have to, but he's not really... Hang on, let me check his stats. I think he... One second. Screen change warning. I think he is a 3-turn timer 2 attack unit, but the problem with Tinkerson, I think, is that he's in the wrong clan. It's not very likely that you're buffing his damage very much. I guess maybe you could like perma-scale. You could get like a snowball effect with forging stove on junk, but I don't know. I think he's mostly just, you know, it's hard to say he's for fun though. He's like, no, he's for fun because realistically, when you pick Tinkerson, you're gonna try to play around his effect, and his effect is for fun. That effect is not good. But if you ever get, oh man, but they nerfed Snowcake. The Tinkerson Pengu Snowcake charm combo goes pretty ridiculous. But I don't know. I think he's mostly just a little goofy. Ooh, Tiny Tycho. Tiny Tycho almost deserves his own tier. I'm gonna put him in the for fun tier. This tier could also be considered the scaling tier. Maybe it's almost because it's like Tiny Tycho and Fizzle shouldn't be here. Let me add another row. I want this to be accurate. Oh, and I gotta change the color. I'll freak. This is gonna be the green row. This is the scaling tier, and there's 2 units that go in this right now, and it's these 2. These are the units that you pick, and the reason you pick them is because your run is set, right? You're sure you're gonna make it to the final boss, or at least make it to Frost Guardian, but you don't know how you're gonna kill the Junker. Then you pick these units because they need a lot of support, but if you hit the right support tools, they will just take over your run, and they will make your run look trivial too. Tiny Tycho will get up into the like 7x5 attacks, and suddenly you're wiping whole boards out, and that's very good. But baseline, they both suck a lot, and you need kind of a miracle to get them off the ground. But the moral of the story though is that if your run is set and you're looking good through the mid game, you pick them and then you just hold them and go, maybe this unit carries my run later. And that's good enough, I think. I don't like this color. Hold on, I gotta pick a different color. It's like, because the colors are all off. Hold on, 1 second, I'm gonna pause. I gotta fix this or I'm gonna freak. Alright, sort of fixed. It's good enough anyway. I'll live with it. So where are we? We're on Tusk now. Tusk is good. The big thing about Tusk is that he will let you win the early game very well. He doesn't do a whole lot after that, but that's fine. I mean, you get hit by an enemy for 1, they take 3 in return. It's pretty solid. Be careful about playing him on the Frost Guardian though, because you don't want to scale the Frost Guardian on accident. Haha. No, I mostly just think that Tusk is good at getting you out of the early game though, and that's all he really needs to do. Van Jun is for fun. There are charm combos that make Van Jun very good, but Van Jun is so slow. Like so slow if you don't hit. You're getting 4/4 at best every 4 turns, which is not very good, but you know, you'll get outpaced on the Frost Gang, basically. You have to hit some of the good shit for Van Jun. You need to hit Lumen Ring, Lumen Ring, Sun Charm, Chrono, Aim. I don't think you can put the Aimless on her actually, but like a multi-hit of some sort if you can. Things like that. Or else it's just really sad. Like it's really depressing, unfortunately. Vesta's also for fun. The biggest problem that Vesta faces is that the only other unit that applies Overburn is not very good. Vesta Shen does not sound like a combo I want to play. So Vesta requires you to hit good Overburn scaling, and I don't know, sometimes you don't, and then you just have this dead 8 HP unit. It's sort of like you can pick her because sometimes she gets out of control, but most of the time she's not going to get out of control. I wonder if with the change where they gave her barrage, I wonder if that made it so that you can't put the aimless charm tech on her anymore. That's a good one to let me know in the comments. Can you put aimless charm on Vesta still? I don't think you can. But generally speaking, if you're picking Vesta, you probably have to have an overburn hero, or I don't know, maybe Bebop mask, agile battle axe really, but like things like that. And then you can kind of like amalgamation it together, but it's weird. It's very weird. Wallop's my goat. I think Wallop is so good. I'm pretty sure, I think Wallop is one of the best units in the game. I know I said earlier, I called Bird one contextually the best unit in the game. If it's not Bird, it's Wallop for sure. I think Wallop does so much. The amount of damage that this unit puts out is just so ridiculous. And all you have to do is freeze enemies, which is something you want to do anyway. Like, hitting the condition to make Wallop good is natural. It's what you're doing through the run anyway. And God, like, she's tanky. She's out here hitting 9 HP. For some, give her an extra HP. Fuck it, why not? She's hitting 12 damage hits. She can't be weakened. She'll still hit you for 8. I'm the big Wallop believer. I think it's you, Wallop. You're my favorite. Like, you can get Frenzy, you can get Demonize, and then suddenly this unit is like one-tapping bosses. It's crazy. I think Wart is also good, and I mean, spoiler alert, Yuki's also good. We'll talk about both of them here real quick, but Wart is good because he has 2x hits, and he's a backliner with 6 HP. Both of those are good. The aimless part is kind of troubling, but I think that by the time you get to the final boss, Wart needs to be scaled to a point where aimless doesn't matter. You need to have him lumen vased up and maybe hitting an extra time, or you hit truffle charm and now he's hitting 5 times 2, or just a poison charm and he's hitting 3 times 2, which is then 6 times 2, or you're playing him with fungo blaster and just putting out poison and then blowing up entire boards, things like that, right? There's a lot of things that make Wart carry super well. You can even just like give him a durian charm and make him weird foxy, and that's good too. So I don't know, Wart's like, he's good through the early game and he scales well. He gets to do both, which is good. And lastly, Yuki is good. Same thing as Wallop. The condition you need to make Yuki good is something you're already doing. Freezing enemies is naturally something that your run will be doing, so getting to scale off of it is very good. And the only downside is that Yuki is a 1 HP unit. Probably the prime example of play this and then see Shelly and go, oh thank God. But yeah, giving Yuki any sort of charm to increase survivability is very worthwhile. But actually not as worthwhile anymore because of the new bell that makes your hero go down half HP. So maybe less so, but I don't know, even still, it's pretty easy to hide Yuki away from enemies and not get killed. Just don't lose to like a snowbow on Bamboozle, because that would be embarrassing. that would be... Ugh. Don't do that. Anyway, I'll do the pets real quick. No one's going to be shocked that I think Spike is the GOAT. Yeah, Spike does everything. He tanks very well in the early game. He auto wins combat 7 for you. He gets to tank bursters or hogs for you, which are both very good. And he is an acceptable tank for the final boss because he's 8 HP. The actual biggest reason that I care a lot less about 8 HP and in this tier list as compared to the last one, because in the last one, 8 HP, 8 HP, this unit has 8 HP. Spike is the reason I don't care anymore, because you start with a unit with 8 HP. You already have one, so it's not as important as I felt before. But yeah, Spike, he makes you big money in the early game because he lets you set up combo kills very easily on these low HP units. He has 8 HP, so he tanks for a while. And it's a very good thing about Spike too, is that it's not a big deal if he dies in the third combat versus Infernoko, because he really makes it a lot easier to kill mini Mokos or Snowbows. Like, he trivializes the third, not trivializes, but he lessens the difficulty of the third fight by killing mini Moko and or Snowbow for you, which is good. But that's not a surprise that I'm gonna put Spike as number 1. We can put Loki in 6th position. I don't actually think Loki is that bad. I just think he's the worst of the pets. If I'm not playing Spike, I'm basically usually just playing one of these two. I'll play Lilgazi or Sneasel. Sneasel's fun. If you are playing like a smackback hero, you can play Sneasel and draw cards, and that's cool. Mostly I think you play Sneasel in the Clunk Master clan, because there's infinites you can do with him there still. And even if you're not doing infinites, he's just fine. Like he's not a 6 HP is not that much less than 8 HP. So as long as you don't care about losing the spikes from Spike, you are happy with Sneasel. And similarly, I play Lilgazi when do I play Lilgazi? I don't know. Usually I play Lilgazi and then I go, man, I wish I had just played Spike. I don't think that Snoof and Bushu are bad, by the way. I actually think I would probably do it like this. I haven't played much Snoof, but I still think Snoof is good, because Snoof is a 3-turn timer, 3 attack unit with 1 freeze. Very strong. Good all-arounder for sure, but I really don't think any of the pets are bad, so it's not super worth it to tier list them. I would put them all into the good tier, except for Loki, probably. It's just that because you get to pick them all, you're going to trend towards the one that fits your playstyle the best, and I think the one that fits my playstyle the best is Spike. I talked about maybe doing within the tiers. I'll do within the tiers for the good tier. I think that, real quick here, it would be something like... just intuitively, I would put Foxy maybe 5th, Colonel probably somewhere, probably Colonel somewhere like here, really. I would put Scaven pretty high. Big Berry. I don't get to pick Big Berry very often, though. Berry Sis, I think, goes pretty low. Egg is fine. Folby's fine. Mini Mika goes higher. I'd put Mini Mika here. Snobble can go right next to Foxy. I think something like this. I'd put Yuki a little higher. And maybe Wart here. I think I like Wart more than Egg. It's just, like, this is a comparison that I've never had to even think about before because they're in different clans. So it's hard to really compare the two, you know? But, yeah, something like this. A little bit like this. Maybe put Berry Sis a little higher. You can move around a little bit in the tier. The main part, though, is the top 5, I think, is very solid. These are like, maybe Chom I would skip sometimes, but like I would never pass Bird, Wallop, or Bomb Bomb if I was just trying to win. But anyway, that'll do it. I don't have anything else to really say. I think that this tier list does the exact same thing that the last one did, which is to really point out that I think there are only 2 units in this game that you should not pick. Right now, anyway. It's these 2. I think every unit in this game has a use case that you can find for it, except for these 2. And like realistically, you should probably put Haze Blazer in here too. But like, I'll hit Exodia one day. I don't think I'm gonna hit it. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this. I enjoy talking about this stuff. It's a nice little way to change to break up the monotony for me a little bit. Not that I think that Wildfrost is boring or anything like that, but it's nice to just sit down and talk sometimes. I like to talk about my thoughts. So, for now, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to do another tier list tomorrow. We're probably just going to play a run. But I'll do another tier list for the charms later because I never did one of those. And I don't know, maybe for some sort of goal. Where are we at? Hang on, how many subscribers am I at? 1 second. Let me go look. I think I'm at like... yeah, I'm at 8,500. Maybe for 9,000 subs, we will we'll do an all cards tier list or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I will see you in the next one. Have a good one.